ask, what do the people of Rwanda think about Boris Johnson's new deal with the asylum seekers?
Well, thank you for even trying to go beyond the headlines and get some more context and so that you can have an understanding. Now, going straight to Rwanda, you need to understand that back in the 60s, when most nations were born, actually the ones that we know today after the colonial period, you know, the independence, in 62 was the independence of Rwanda, but by 62 I was myself already a refugee.
Right.
So while other countries were getting independent, Rwanda was already producing refugees. And if you know a little bit about Rwanda, since the 90s, it's the children of those refugees, my generation, that tried actually to come back, and we eventually did. 94, there was a genocide. You must have heard about it, the genocide against the Tutsi, and then it produced another wave of refugees. That we also the first, I would say, thing that was the government focused on was to bring back, because they didn't want to repeat what had already been the case in the 60s. So now most of Rwandans are, I would say 90% are now back in Rwanda. But we have all this collective experience of what it is to be a refugee. So we have also that understanding that we don't wish it to nobody. And now this experience with the United Kingdom is actually not the first one, because you must also have heard that after the war in Libya, there were so many migrants, African migrants, stranded actually in Libya that couldn't go. They couldn't go back to their countries. They couldn't go across the Mediterranean, and they were very vulnerable. And Rwanda has this now in its DNA and address actually the African Union that Africa need to be responsible and be solidar with those guys. And that is how the first actually deal was made, because Rwanda was telling all the African countries, let's be part of it, of the solutions, because these are Africans, they are vulnerable and they need our support. And so that is the rationale actually.
This is fantastic. That, I think I've gained more insight onto the psychology of the Rwandan people just in those couple of minutes that you were talking than I would get from any news report I've ever seen in the UK so far. I think it's really important now, isn't it? You guys understand both the nature of what it's like to be a refugee, maybe be persecuted, but also the desire to go back as well once the problem has sorted itself out. And that's what I think a lot of people would like to do. Certainly we're seeing that in Ukraine at the minute, but one would imagine as well in countries like Syria, Iraq. But how do you feel when you hear or see elements of the British media saying things like, it's inhumane to send refugees, to send asylum seekers to Rwanda? Do you find that offensive about your country?
Well, first of all, we've grown a thick skin because we've had so many people just with prejudice and stereotypes and cliche. So we're not really bothered by that. I think for us it's a good news, because we had this experience with the Libyan migrants, and the UNHCR contributed, so we have accepted them, and they are here. They are already living here in Rwanda. Also, if you remember, after the Afghan crisis, when the US left, well, we now have Afghan refugees here. We have a school of girls that is really, they are here now. They live in Rwanda, and it's a normal thing. So for us to hear that our government actually also contributed you know, you also see always Africa as a third world continent, and it's like they're not part of any solutions.
Yeah.
You know, so for us, it's kind of a pride to say that, you know what, we can be part of the solution, because at the end of the day, don't tell us about Rwanda and all of that, but think about those people. And for us in Rwanda, that's something that we know. Those people are the people who are going to benefit from this arrangement. That is, I believe, for Rwanda, the most important thing.
So we've established already, in just a few minutes we've been talking, in your opinion anyway, the vast majority of the people of Rwanda are absolutely perfectly happy for this to take place, that the people will be welcomed in with open arms by a group of people who understand to an extent what it is that they're going through. Can I ask as well, roughly what the accommodation might be like? You said you've got some people already there from Libya, and I believe you said Afghanistan as well. Is the accommodation going to be pretty good? Are they going to have a nice life, these asylum seekers?
Yeah, well, actually, that is where sometimes you could think that they could have even sometimes a better condition than even Rwandans, because for those people, especially to make sure that you don't, in fact, grow the trauma, even for them, you know.
Yeah.
So we have the support from the UNHCR, we have the support from the African Union, but even for Rwanda, somehow, why we get people also so that they don't see them as just foreigners and coming on their land. Wherever they are also, and whatever the government builds around, like infrastructures, roads, and all that, and facilities, well, you have, in fact, the communities around them, they're also benefiting from that. So somehow we make sure in Rwanda that those communities don't feel like they are not being taken care of, and a foreigner has a better status than them. So it's important that we also find a way that we also keep educating the public also, so that we don't react like a bit saturated like the rest of the world, because this migration anywhere else, it's like, refugees coming from somewhere that we don't know, and they're aliens and all that. So, you know, we've been through so many things that for us, we really want to in our transmission of memory, of our experience, is to tell people that life is a gift, but humanity is a privilege, and we want to be on the side of the privilege.
That's absolutely fantastic. And I think it's fair to say that from as far as you're concerned, Albert, the British government, the Rwandan government, have made a pretty good deal. Albert, thank you so much. Albert Rudatsimburwa there. Can I just say, while I've still got you, Albert, very quickly, I want us to stay in touch, OK? I want us to stay in touch. I want you to keep coming on, please, because
anytime.
You've been
24/7.
Thank you very much.
24/7, you press enter and I'll be there.
Hey, there you go. Good man. A Great Lakes political analyst. What a legend. What a hero.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.